Ladies and gentlemen, the 2016 commencement address of Curry College, the Honorable Dr. Dannel Malloy.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I very much appreciate this honor today. It is of special import to me because today I am honored alongside of my wife, and that's part of my story, so I'll tell a little of it in just a moment or two. But let me say to all of you, the graduates of 2016, it is an honor to be amongst you and to receive this degree as you receive yours as well. Let me say about Curry College, it is a great institution, one of the older institutions of higher learning in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and in fact in the United States. What's important about this school is it was founded by a husband and a wife. Actually, it was really founded by the wife. The husband became president, and they worked together for many, many years. It began as a school of elocution, the ability to speak and argue one's case. The founder, one of the founders was a Methodist minister. And when he decided no longer to pursue that calling and instead receiving his advanced degree at Boston University, he had the ability to train many great thinkers and speakers throughout his tenure. And as many of you know, because some of you lived, I guess, in Bell Hall, this college has a great history of having been chancellored by Alexander Graham Bell. Full circle on communications right there. It has special import because today you honor Kathy and I, and I've been asked to share with you my story. And so let me tell you that in many ways my life has come full circle. Having grown up with severe physical and processing disorders that took years to overcome, I have a special appreciation for roughly 25% of the undergraduates here today. You and I have shared this burden and these possibilities together. When I was young, I was thought to be mentally deficient as late as the 4th grade. And I have some of the battle scars and some of the documentation that speaks to that. But my mother, as was referenced by the president, knew that that was not the case, and in fact, she had raised other children who had learning disabilities, and she was going to have none of that. And she decided instead to support her youngest child in his endeavors, and I am grateful for that. But I will also share with you, who have come here in part based on your learning differences, that I didn't have any real academic success in school until late into high school. In fact, when I went away to college, I was still listening to my publications on recorded books for the blind, not because I couldn't read or comprehend, but I couldn't do enough of that quickly enough to be competitive in school. As late as the first semester of my sophomore year in college, I was still doing that. Now, part of my story is how did I end up in Massachusetts, and how do I come full circle to Curry College? Well, in 1970, this college began one of the earliest programs in the nation to accept and to propel students with learning disabilities or differences. Now, I didn't come here, although it was on my list of schools to pursue. I ended up being interviewed late in the season at Boston College. And this is how we are related, even before today. When I was interviewed that day at Boston College, I spent the whole day meeting with a team of people at that university. And what eventually came out of that application and that acceptance was that Boston College, now knowledgeable in 1973 of the success of the program at Curry College, was interested in designing its own program to make sure that its students could be successful as they were at Curry College. In essence, a whole program was built around me because of you at Curry. And for that, I am extremely grateful. The other portion of that story has been alluded to as well. I would not have been as successful in college as I ultimately became unless I had had the opportunity to meet Kathy Lambert on April 6, 1974 at a party in Brighton, Massachusetts. In fact, I told a little of this story last night at the President's dinner. When we graduated, I had to figure out what to give this woman who I had fallen in love with and had made so much of a difference in my life in those intervening 3.5 years. I went down to a jewelry store across from the old Filene's, and I found a charm. She had a charm bracelet that her parents had given her when she graduated from high school. And I found a charm that had a typewriter on the charm with little semi-precious stones as parts of the keys. After all, she had done all of that for me. I had to dictate every paper, and she had been my partner in getting that work done. First thing to remember, have a good partner. Our partners. They'll get you through life. They'll make you stronger, and you'll be better for it. Certainly I am. Thank you, Kathy. I'll tell you another story about growing up with a learning difference. I decided that I wanted to go to law school. Now remember, I don't work in written language. It's a scary proposition. I applied to a number of schools, and actually one of the schools I applied to, I thought about going to rather than staying at Boston College. It was a school in Wisconsin. And since I was quite afraid that I would not pass a bar exam to be admitted to law, to practice law in a state, I almost went there because being accepted to the school and completing the program, you were automatically admitted to the bar. But I made a different choice, and that was to stay at Boston College and take my chances in getting my degree there and ultimately sitting for the bar exam. In 1980, because of work started at Curry College and elsewhere, I was the first person in Massachusetts and New York to take the bar exam orally who wasn't otherwise physically disabled. And a year later, I did that in Connecticut as well. Curry College gets that applause. Now, let me say this. I'll go back to my mother for just a moment. It is true that when I was growing up, she thought I had some talent that other folks didn't see. But she also said something else. She said, Dannel, and she said it almost every day we shared this earth together, Dannel, you have an obligation to leave the world a better place for your having lived in it. Your third student speaker said much the same in his comments. Graduates, you have an obligation to leave the world a better place for your having lived in it, and you can. You can find ways to support one another, support the communities in which you're moving to or now currently live in, support your fellow employees, give back to the broader society, stand up for those who are downtrodden, make sure rights are protected. You have the ability to do that, and you have the training here at Curry to make sure that you can do it. After all, many of you in this audience had to support that 25% of the class that had learning differences, and you did that in those days. Do it again out in a broader society. Make the world a better place because you love it, because you love your fellow man and woman, and you want to live in a better world. You can do that, Curry graduates. After all, this is your commencement. Commence making the world a better place. You can do it in big ways and little ways. The first way is simply to be nice to your fellow man and woman in the world. Some of you will go into public service. Some of you will go on to graduate degrees. Some of you are teachers and nurses and other professions. I understand that. But go at life with a lot of oomph. Make sure you're embracing it every moment. One of your speakers said that the past 4 years are the best years of your life. I give you a different challenge. Make every 4 years the best 4 years of your life. Turn every one of those around to a positive point of view. Make sure that you're moving forward at all times. By the way, don't dwell in the past, dwell in the future. That's how you'll make it better, and that's my message to you. Like your first speaker, I've taken a few trains in my life, and I've had to reset the course of those trains as well. Don't be afraid of that either. Setbacks are to be embraced and learned from. I ran for governor once before I got elected the second time. You're going to have losses. Build upon those losses. Use the lessons that you're given to make yourself better and stronger and to find yet more ways to give back. That's my other message to you, that no life is perfect. No life will be lived without its hardships and its disappointments in relationships, in profession, with one another. But if we take every one of those experiences, and I've had some tough ones as I've described, and others which I prefer not to describe, but every one of those things I've learned from, and I've tried to make better. And you too can do that as well. So my fellow graduates, as your second speaker said, the Marine, strive to be the best. Today is a great day for you, but tomorrow and every day thereafter can be just as great. Embrace this world, embrace this life, embrace one another, embrace your future, make us all proud to be Curry graduates, and make the world a better place for your having lived in it. God bless you all.
Kathy Malloy, come up here.